Greetings, everyone. This is a story time, and of course, my story times are true. Okay, now I'm sharing this story because I want to say to you that nothing stays the same forever, whether good or bad. And you know, I don't care what you're going through, I don't care, how despondent you feel right now. Just be encouraged. Now this happened 15 years ago. I had a newborn baby and I was actively searching for a new place to live. At the time I was living in a basement apartment, and though my landlord was a nice guy, certain activities was going on. I didn't feel comfortable staying there. I suspected some things were happening. And I remember one day, at that time, I think I told you guys how after I gave birth to my daughter, I had a separate symphysis pubis, which left me disabled, and I had to learn to walk and all that stuff again. And one morning, I had an assistant that came in every day to help me get in the bathtub, to help me do things around the house, do laundry, and so on. And she came to me and she said to me, every morning when I come, I see a car sitting outside and somebody look like they're watching the house. And I said to her, really? So anyway, I brought that to the landlord to say, you know what? My assistant told me that every morning someone is waiting outside and watching the house. And of course, he was very interested to know more. And he revealed something to me that made me very scared. I said, you know what? I don't want to live here anymore. So I saw an ad in the paper, and it was a city that I always wanted to live in. So I called the lady up and I made the appointment to go and see the apartment. And when I saw it, it was perfect. I was tired of being in the basement. It was always very cold. And keep in mind, I wasn't well, and my daughter, my newborn baby, wasn't doing so well in her health either. So I needed more light. I needed a warm place because sometimes the landlord would turn off the heat in the middle of the night and it was winter time. So, you know, although he was a nice guy, he used to do some things that were not very nice. But when I think about it now as a homeowner, sometimes people cut corners because they're trying to save money. So turning off the heat, doing things to the washing machine and stuff is just his way of trying to save money. I don't want to digress too far, sorry, in this story about what it was like living in that apartment. I just wanted to be out. And so when I met with the lady, I saw the apartment going for $850 per month. And trust me, it was such a nice apartment. I was so happy when I saw it. And when I went to meet her and she said $850, I thought, okay, this must be a trick just to get you in. So, of course, she said, because I wanted this place, I brought my check with me and I bought a money order. So, the money order I wanted to use to pay the first month's rent, and I gave her a check to pay the last month's rent. So I gave it to her, and that night she called me and she says, oh, by the way, utilities not included. I said, but the ad in the paper said that $850 included everything. But I liked it so much that I was prepared to pay another $100. So I said to her, well, calculate how much, because you would know how much per month utilities should cost. And she said, well, $950 per month. Just $950 will cover utility and everything. And so I said to her, okay, that's fine. She had the $850 money order and she had the $850 check. So all I have to do is just give her $200 more cash. The next day she called me and she says, oh, I made a mistake. It's $950 rent plus utility. So I said, lady, I have a budget. I was home on maternity leave and I was already sick. I wasn't even sure when I was going to go back to work. So I had to make sure that I stick with my budget. And the most I could do was the $9.50 per month. Keep in mind, my partner was not living in the country yet, so I was by myself with the two girls. So I said to her, you know what, this is not going to work because you advertised for one thing, you raised it up, and I agree, and now you're raising it again. So at this point, I said, you know what, I'm just going to come back and pick up my money order. And I called the bank and I canceled the check. Well, people, the woman says to me, okay, well, when you come to pick up the check, as long as you know you're going to take care of certain things. Anyway, I didn't listen to what she was saying on the phone. She called me and arranged for me to meet her at a McDonald's. And at the time, and this was in Etobicoke that she told me to meet. So I called my friend, my sister friend. You know, trust me, man, I love this woman like, and she's not blood related. I always tell you guys that. So I called her up and I said to her, okay, meet her. I'm on my way. And the lady's calling me from the McDonald's saying, oh, if you're not here in 10 minutes, I'm leaving. And I'm thinking, I can't afford to lose my money order, you know. So I called my friend that lived in Etobicoke, who happened to be close to where that lady was. And I said, meet her there and take the check from me. And I told the lady I'm on my way. And of course, the lady said, I'm not waiting for you. So I got off the bus and I hailed a taxi. And when I got in the taxi, I said, sir, listen, this lady has my money and I'm in such a situation. Nothing is going right. I start bawling to this complete stranger. And I said to him, I just have to catch her. So can you please hurry? And listen, this man looked like he was looking for an adventure because the man started to go in and out, in and out of traffic. And he was driving like he had wanted that adventure all his life. And my friend, now she gets there because she wasn't far from the McDonald's. She gets there and she says, I don't know how much longer I can hold this lady because she's threatening to leave. And I'm like, please hold her, please hold her. And so, of course, the taxi driver got me there. It's like something out of a movie. When I got there, she was just about to storm out. And I said to her, I'm here now. And she said to me, before I give you the money order back, you have to pay me $300 because you're taking the money. Keep in mind, the lady only had my checks for one day. She says, well, because of you, I didn't get to rent out my place. So you're going to have to give me $300. I said, why would I give you $300? You only had my check for one day. Well, she says, you're not getting it. So I pull out my phone and I call the police because I'm saying, this is crazy. This lady's a scammer. So I called the police and the lady said to me, I'm not coming. You have to go to court with that. And believe me, people, it's like everything in my life was going wrong. I couldn't even stand up straight to walk. I had to use a walker. That's how my situation was. And with this baby in my arm, this woman trying to rip me off. And all I could do was just sit. I don't know if I was sitting on the ground or found a chair. I just remember just propping myself down and started bawling. And the lady storms off with my check. My friend, I have to laugh now. My friend started running behind her. And my friend started using some choice words and said, you're wicked. You're a wicked so-and-so. How could you do this to the woman? Look at her. She can't even walk and she's with her baby. And just telling you the story, people, tears is coming to my eyes because it takes me right back there. And I'm thinking, what else could go wrong? Like, here I am in this most vulnerable position. Now I'm going to lose my money. I gave notice where I'm living. You know, I didn't tell the guy the 100 that I'm leaving because of what I suspect is happening there. I'm leaving. I gave him notice. And now this woman has my money and I have no more money to come up with first and last. She storms off and I bawl, ugly cry. And of course, when I think about it now, my friend cussed her out and the lady just took off. She's like, I don't care, jumped in her car and just Let me tell you something. The thing scamming is just some little poor people that do these things. This was a woman from India. So what it turned out to be is it seemed like someone left her to watch their house, and what she did, or what she was doing, was putting ads in the newspaper, putting the place up for rent when it wasn't for rent. And then whenever people came and gave her things, she come up with, she keep changing the price of the rent. Nobody's gonna really agree to that. And so when they say, okay, forget it, she then demand them to pay her X amount to get back their money. Fast forward, of course, I came home feeling just so despondent, feeling so broken. I called in desperation. I called the police again, and this time this Chinese police officer answered the phone. How do I know it's Chinese? Because he told me. And when I relayed what was happening, he said it's really a court matter. There's not really much I can do about this. And I just started crying. I just emptied my soul to this man. And he said, I'll try and call her again and see what happens. But really, our hands are tied. There's nothing we can do because it's a civil matter. Well, somehow, whatever he said to her, because he never called me back, but it's clear he called her, and I don't know what he told her, but it was enough for her to call me the next morning. And she says, oh, get here in half an hour because I'm not waiting. And she says, and I hope you know you're going to pay me something out of this money for my time and for whatever. And I said to her, yes, because the first time when she said it to me, I was like, why would I pay you? But this time I learned my lesson. So I said to her, yeah, no problem. I'm going to bring the extra cash for you. And so when I got there, of course, she was coming out like she was about to leave. I caught her on time. And I'm giving you a short version of this, people, because it's a long story. So she said to me, do you have that something for me? I said, I do. And she put her hand in her bosom and she took out my check and she handed it to me. And then she's looking at me and I said to her, lady, you're a criminal. On the top of my voice in that McDonald's place, I said, you're a criminal. Do you think I would give you money for just because I gave you my check the day before, few days before, that I would pay you? And when I started talking, she ran out of the McDonald's and she jumped in her car and never saw or heard from her again. But guess what? I was so happy to get my money back. But here's the thing. I had to go to a shelter. And I literally stayed in that shelter for 3 months, because it was hard to find something appropriate. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't have the same problem. If you are a renter or if you've had any of these nightmare stories, share them with me in the comment section. Or if you have any stories that you'd want me to share on my platform, feel free to share those stories with me. And if you want to sponsor a video, reach me at Jenniren, JENNIRREN @gmail.com. Stay blessed, everyone.